I had such an amazing time in Ethiopia. Like, since I've been traveling, I've not had such a good time anywhere else like I did in Ethiopia.
Okay.
Because of, you know, the culture, Ethiopians, like the people, everything was just good. And then, of course, I linked up with Damaris. So we went to so many places, we explored. And more so because, you know, Ethiopians speak Amharic, majority of them Amharic. It's like the national language. So, but linking up with Damaris, who had been there, you know, it was so much more easier for me. So we're able to move around, do so many things together, go to different parts of the country, create memories there, make videos, and also we even go to like, you know, party, hang out. It was amazing. When you get to those borders, they still demand for some money from you.
Do you tell them you had to
you
be stamped to leave your country?
Yeah.
You had to pay.
It's that annoying.
Yeah.
As a Nigerian, to leave Nigeria into Benin Republic, I was made to pay money for them to stamp my passport. East Africa is quite different. For Ethiopia, was more, of course, the political capital of Africa. Lot more of skyscrapers, like a lot of tall buildings, and then a lot very well developed, you know.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, my name is Queen Dester, and I'm excited because today I am joined by the beautiful and amazing Virtue Grace. Please introduce yourself.
Okay, she has said it. I'm Virtue Grace, the African storyteller.
And where are you from and all this? So we're going to be having a discussion about, I want to give like a background so we can get into like more of a chit chat than even an interview, but more based on your opinion. So we're going to be talking about East Africa versus West Africa from someone that has visited different countries in both of these places, and hear what her opinion is. First of all, let's even start here. Something I find interesting is how many Africans don't know other countries apart from theirs and the immediate neighbors. Like, you'll ask a Nigerian, or like I did ask Ghanaians, where is Kenya? And they were telling me, oh, it's in West Africa, close to Namibia. And I'm like, huh? So please tell us where you're from and the countries that you visited.
Okay, so Virtue Grace, the African storyteller. I'm from Nigeria. I'm Nigerian. Green, white, green. And I've been to in West Africa. I've been to Benin Republic. I've been to Ghana. I've been to Sierra Leone, Liberia, Cameroon, Ethiopia.
So now that's on the east. She's been to Ethiopia.
Yeah, I've been to Rwanda. I've been to Uganda.
Oh wow, amazing. So what would you say is like your general perspective of the East versus the West?
Okay, so first I would say, in terms of geographically and like the city and physically, East Africa is quite different. For Ethiopia was more, of course, the political capital of Africa. Lot more of skyscrapers, like a lot of tall buildings, and then a lot very well developed, you know, looked more urban. And then for Uganda was not like Ethiopia, but also the terrain, the physical environment seemed, for Uganda seemed more red, like their sand sort of red, and then trees, flowers, a lot more green, right? And when I traveled in the countryside of Uganda, it was sort of also like mountainous, because I went like to the western side, so it was mountainous and very lush green. So beautiful, so beautiful.
I agree.
For Ethiopia, I also traveled out to the south, Hawassa, right? So there was dry and you know, cold. Then for Rwanda was also mountainous. Okay, so mountainous, land of 1,000 hills, mountainous, clean, you know, a lot of buildings and all of that, though not many skyscrapers. But yeah, for the physical attributes, I would say that is it as compared to West Africa. In West Africa, we have a lot more of people, especially the countries I've been to, like Ghana, like Cotonou here. Cotonou also, I would say Cotonou for West Africa is like similar to Rwanda. It's also a small country. It's also very clean and organized, sort of law abiding. I would say it's like the Rwanda of West Africa. Okay. Yeah, and then the roads.
That's very true, because you know, like the helmet
yes,
thing,
they wear
traffic
helmets,
lights,
obey traffic lights, it's clean, everything like that. So for West Africa, we have a mix of high-rise buildings and normal bungalows and all of that. And then it's not as mountainous as the East African countries have been to. Here it's more like sunny and more of shrubs, not really densely green and all of that, but we have, you know, a spread of greenery, sort of more like mix a balance between the greenery and the normal terrain and all.
So in all the countries that you've visited, what are the top two countries that you've stayed the longest?
Okay, first Ethiopia, because I was in Ethiopia for a month and
You've been in Ethiopia longer than Ghana?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
I was in Ethiopia for a month and 2 weeks. For Ghana, the first time I visited, I think I was there for like 2 weeks, a week. Yeah, it was about a week the first time. Then the second time I went to Ghana, I was in Ghana for like 3 weeks. It wasn't up to a month. So Ethiopia was the longest, followed by Ghana. Then Sierra Leone, but I was in Sierra Leone too for like 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I have a few like big points that I'd love to hear your opinion on these two places. Okay, the first one is cost of living.
Cost of living.
Yeah, according to you, would you say the places in East Africa or the West Africa, which one is winning when it comes to cost of living? I know you're going to be talking from a place of a tourist, but I feel like a point of tourist can also somehow reflect the cost of living of a local.
Okay, so for Ethiopia, where I stayed the longest, when I visited, that was like 2021. The cost of living was quite reasonable, in my opinion. As a tourist, I'm not assuming the position of a local, but as a tourist, it wasn't so much that I couldn't afford. So I could afford to like eat for
food in
maybe
Ethiopia is
$1. As at 2021, I could get a meal for like $1. $2 was very much filling, and also and then accommodation as well wasn't that expensive, because probably I stayed in a hostel, so it wasn't that expensive. With like $7 a night, we got a comfortable space to stay. It didn't come with breakfast, and it was in the city center. So then for Rwanda, I spent a few days in Rwanda, so I really can't say much in terms of the cost of living. But Uganda, I stayed long in Uganda, so I was in Uganda for like 3 weeks as well. So for Uganda, it was slightly on the high side too. Although my friend Amito, hi, was so gracious. She hosted me, and then even the feeding aspect, she was always so kind with like giving me breakfast. So I only had to do like even dinner. Amito was serving me breakfast and dinner, so I didn't really eat out as much. But still, I would say, because we went to like the supermarket to buy some stuff, then I went to the market one of those days to just pick some fruits and also, and then in the cost of transportation, it was a bit on the high side too. So, and that was in 2022. 2022. So it was a bit on the high side. I don't know if it has even increased.
Would you compare that to West Africa? I think for you, Uganda was like
for me,
West Africa?
For me, Uganda was a bit high. Coming from Nigeria, West Africa, of course. So Nigeria was a bit more affordable then. Although now with inflation, the cost of living in Nigeria too is increasing. It has gone up and everything, but for now, like I just said, Nigeria is becoming expensive as well. But expensive is also relative. Some people might say, well, compared to where I'm coming from, it's not so expensive. But for us Nigerians, it's a shift from what we were used to. So it's becoming expensive, with a liter of fuel now being sold for some places up to 1,300 naira a liter. And that's almost like $1, because $1 now is like 1,600 and something naira. The last I checked. So a liter of fuel is almost $1. Mind you, we used to buy fuel for way less. A liter was like 200 naira, then it kept going up and up. You know, when the subsidy was removed, it now became 600, 700. It kept going up and up within months.
Yeah.
It's now up to 1,000 something. So that has also affected the cost of food, accommodation, and then cost of transportation. So it is like ripple effect. Everything is going up now.
So the concept of this video is to also like show people when they think about Africa, it's not one place. Like it's a whole very different concept.
Dynamics.
Can you talk to us about the weather?
The weather. Oh, the weather is hot. Okay, so for now, the weather gets hot and sunny.
Yeah.
I was just complaining to Damaris. And it's funny how Damaris is enjoying the sun. I'm like,
I will tell you, I'm from East Africa and we get the cold. You know, like we are having a difference when she's like,
she said she's on vacation.
I'm like, no, for me, the humidity is just making me feel like I'm on vacation.
So it gets hot here. We're actually in the rainy season, right?
Yeah.
So it gets, the days that it doesn't rain, it gets really hot and humid and just sunny. When you are walking out, you get sweaty and all of that.
Yeah.
Well, in the evening, the weather gets like normal. It's not hot, so you can sleep like relatively cool and all of that.
Yeah.
So we have the raining and the dry season. We're in the rainy season now. The dry season starts from like November, December, up to February.
So the rainy season or the sunny season?
The dry season.
The dry season. So we're getting into the dry season.
Yeah, we're getting into the dry season because we're in October now.
Yeah.
Because of also say climate change, so many things have changed. Because back then, as in October, you start to experience the dry season.
Yeah.
But it's still raining in October, so.
Yeah. So let's also talk about something that's very different.
Okay.
It has to be food.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I can even speak on your behalf. East Africa, apart from Ethiopia, they do not do pepper. Like they don't eat chili food. But compared to here in East Africa, in West Africa, yeah. So how was your experience when it comes to food
in East Africa?
Yeah.
The food was good. Okay, so for Ethiopia, I tasted injera for the first time, but injera has a unique taste that requires an acquired taste for you to really enjoy. So for the first time, I really struggled with it, but the longer I stayed, I started like becoming more accepting to it and eating. But my favorite food in Ethiopia was fufu.
Yeah.
Because it's made from beans and bread.
Yeah.
You know, and beans happens to be my favorite food, so I enjoyed that. All right. And then
West Africa, what is your favorite food apart from Nigerian food?
Like I said, I think beans is everywhere. So beans is actually my favorite. And when I say this, it sounds funny because many people don't like beans.
Actually, beans should be encouraged to be eaten because it's a plant protein. And so when some people miss the point and think it's cheap and stuff like this, then you miss out on the benefits it has. I love beans.
There's rice, there's everything. Nigerians watching, you know, we have a lot of, our cuisine is diverse, but beans is like my favorite. I could eat it Monday to Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Then so in terms of the pepper thing you talked about, of course, East African food is not spicy. I think they don't even add pepper into their food. So what I did, I would always request for pepper. So the thing is, when you want pepper, extra chili, they can make it available to you. So I was always asking for pepper. I remember in Amito's house, Amito literally bought pepper oil. You know that pepper infused oil in East Africa? She bought it for me because she knew Nigerians eat a lot of pepper. I finished it in just a matter of days. I had to buy another bottle to just add to it. But in Ethiopia, I was just eating it, you know, when I needed it. So for Ethiopia, it's that green pepper. So you literally bite it and chew on it. So I was biting the pepper and chewing on it and eating.
Now, I know traveling in Africa is not one of the easiest things, but we are hopefully with time, with us leading on the way, then we also give you like tips and hacks, and also more systems are coming. What would you say has been your biggest challenge when it comes to travel and not money?
Okay, not money. Okay, so for me, I think it has been language barrier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, especially as a West African. I think that East Africans, you guys have it easier because you can literally leave Kenya, go to Uganda, they are speaking English, go to Rwanda, Kenya, Rwanda,
But we don't speak in Rwanda. In Rwanda, some people can actually face a language barrier because sometimes they speak between French and some Swahili.
Yeah.
So if you don't speak either, then I traveled to Uganda with Irina TL, and I would be the one understanding more than her because it was French and Swahili mostly.
Okay, that's in Rwanda.
Yeah.
So but I feel
language
like
barrier is almost everywhere within Africa.
Yeah,
Because
but
if
it's
you
crazy.
even say if someone comes to Kenya. If I'm a Kenyan, thank God I speak Swahili, so to go to Tanzania it would be no problem. But a Ugandan going to Tanzania, it's
no
a language
Swahili.
barrier. Yeah,
You see,
like
so that language barrier has been the issue.
Yeah.
Here in West Africa, it's so crazy because when you leave Nigeria, you're in Benin Republic, they speak French, and then they speak Igbo, they speak Fon. Then you go to Togo, they speak French. Here too, they speak French. So two countries speak French before you get to Ghana, where they speak English. And once you leave Ghana, you get to Ivory Coast, they speak French. Ivory Coast, you get to Liberia, they speak English. So it's like they just deliberately divided us in terms of the language. So it's difficult to really integrate. So when I even think of traveling, because I don't really, my French is very, very basic. Just the thought of it stresses me out. Okay, if I want to go to Benin Republic, I have to look for someone that I can link up with who can speak some English, someone in Togo who can speak some English to take me around Ivory Coast. And also that language barrier has really been like the challenge. Okay.
I feel like you should give us a bonus because when I think about language barrier, it's a challenge that is faced worldwide. So it's not necessarily just for Africa. Does that make sense? Yeah. So like in terms of traveling within Africa, what would you say has been another challenge that maybe you would say this is tailored for Africa mostly?
I think like the visa requirements and the travel protocol across borders. That's also such a big deal because West Africa, for instance, they say is borderless in terms of you don't need a visa to visit any West African country. But that is just on paper. In reality, when you get to those borders, they still demand for some money from you.
Do you tell them you had to
you
be stamped to leave your country?
Yeah.
You had to pay.
It's that annoying. As a Nigerian, to leave Nigeria into Benin Republic, I was made to pay money for them to stamp my passport. Mind you, I had my travel documents in check. But just to have immigration stamp that I'm leaving the country, they demanded for money from me. How much? 1,000 naira. And this is not the first time. It has been happening. When I was in Cotonou last year, they demanded 500 from me when I was going. And it's not only Nigeria. When I paid and they stamped me and I crossed to Benin, the Benin Republic immigration officers also demanded money from me. So it's something the government needs to look into. I asked the immigration officer, so why are you making me to pay? I don't pay at the airport to have my passport stamped. And he told me, airport immigration is different, like airport protocol is different. This is land border. And I'm like, why? So it's something the government needs to look at because this travel protocol and requirements are really an impediment. Because off the head, when someone thinks of traveling and the fact that, oh, I need to apply for visa, I don't know if Damaris is going to share that story, but you come so close, you can't enter just because you're from here, right? And you need a visa, you need this, that. So it's crazy. Let's make it seamless. Let's demolish. By demolishing the borders, that doesn't mean we take the immigration, the customs, and the security off the borders, but the visa requirements should be scrapped so we can travel more hassle-free.
Okay, so Grace, I didn't want to end this video at a sad note. That's why I started with asking you a challenge so we can end in a very good note. So tell me, what has been your best experience? I don't want to ask what's your favorite country because that's a very hard question to ask a traveler because you get good experiences and equally not good experience or things that you would want changed everywhere. So what has been your best experience in all the places that you have been?
That's a lot.
Okay, you can tell us two.
Okay, let me just a lot. Probably two. So first, I would say like a fond memory. When I visited Uganda, Amito, my friend who welcomed me and hosted me, she was so nice. Like Amito is such a darling. She welcomed me at the airport. Mind you, the airport in Uganda is at Entebbe, which is like almost
40
minutes drive to
from
Kampala, the capital. So she came all the way to the airport in Entebbe, waited for me. I landed, and then she picked me, drove me all the way back.
Nice.
And the most surprising and fondest part of it for me is that she came with flowers for me, a bouquet of flowers, and I'd never received flowers from anyone.
East Africans are
It's
romantic
like,
and
I was
sweet.
like, what? Amito, you brought me flowers. I was so excited and so grateful. It felt so special to me. So
Nice.
I was really happy about that kind of reception. I'd never gotten that kind of reception anywhere I've been traveling. And
Nice.
also, that really was very
highlight.
fun for me. Highlight I won't forget.
Yeah.
My first flowers. You guys have not been giving me flowers. Then,
Please give Grace her flowers, please.
yeah. Then another place I really enjoyed was Ethiopia. I think I've said this 1,000,001 times, even on my channel.
Yeah.
I had such an amazing time in Ethiopia. Like, since I've been traveling, I've not had such a good time anywhere else like I did in Ethiopia.
Okay.
Because of the culture, Ethiopians, like the people, everything was just good. And then, of course, I linked up with Damari. So we went to so many places, we explored. And more so because, Ethiopians speak Amharic, majority of them Amharic. It's like the national language. So, but linking up with Damaris, who had been there, it was so much more easier for me. So we're able to move around, do so many things together, go to different parts of the country, create memories there, make videos, and also we even go to party, hang out. It was amazing. Then going to Fendika, the Ethiopian Cultural Center, where we dance, we drink, laugh, let loose.
It was nice.
Then we linked up with some of our friends, like one Nigerian, the other one Ghanaian, that they came around. We had
See, listen, I can tell you this story better than she's telling you. Like, they would go to a place and take over. Like, it was
we
nice.
had so much fun in Ethiopia. I can't wait to be back to Ethiopia, really. Nice. So, like, those are my two favorite places. For me, I travel to also have fun, learn about the place, and create memories. So, these are like the two memories that stood out for me. I'm not saying I've not enjoyed the other places.
It was your favorite
these
memories.
Two stood out forever.
Nice. I'm also happy that we put it on record. So sometimes our memories fade away,
It can always come
you cannot remember the exact same thing. On that note, may you go check out her channel as well. She's Virtual Grace, the African Storyteller.
The channel is actually African Storyteller. Yeah.
Now tell us, we have to talk about uniting Africa, and what are your opinions on One Africa and that whole conversation?
I think it's a conversation that I've also been pushing and contributing my own perspective to. I really want to see a one united Africa where we see ourselves as one. When I travel, I look out for the cultural intersections, and I always emphasize our cultural intersections when I travel, because I want us to see that at some point we're probably one people, or people who shared a lot of similarities before we eventually got separated and grew apart, so we can see that the things that unite us are more than the things that divide us. I think that if we amplify more of our similarities over our differences, then we can set ourselves on the path to a more united Africa, okay? And I think it is possible. And we are not saying we should become homogeneous or one people doing the same thing. That is not possible. But when I talk about African unity is that regardless of the fact that you eat ugali and I eat eba or fufu, we are the same people, basically. So let's move forward with that mindset and draw the bigger agenda for Africa. Okay, eat ugali, let me eat fufu. When we finish, let's talk about that project that will link Nigeria and Kenya so we can visit more easily. That is my sense of African unity.
The knowledge that if I pull down a Nigerian, I'm also pulling myself.
Because the truth is, the rest of the world see us as the same. Like, they see Africa. Oftentimes, you try to correct them. They say, I'm going to Africa. We're in Africa. Africa is a continent of different countries, but they see us as one people. But when we come back home, you are Kenyan, I'm Nigerian. You are Ghanaian, I'm yeah, I'm Ivorian, so you are
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
No, we are the same people.
You sure are. And when,
No.
even worse, when we are out of your country, then the challenges that you face as a Nigerian, as a Kenyan, have so much similarities. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just knowing we are all fighting a similar kind of concept. Yeah, thank you so much for joining on this chat. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, maybe people can hear you. Tell them subscribe.
Guys, if you've come by for the first time, I know you've enjoyed this conversation, but there's so much more that you can enjoy on this channel. So click on that subscribe button. When you click, turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos from here. Give this video a thumb up. Drop a comment. What do you think? Which African country you've been to? What do you think about this conversation in general? Let's know, okay? Drop a comment and share this video. Let more people see it.
Yes, for sure. And let the Africa conversation continue. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I was so happy having a sit down. I used to have sessions called Buna with Desta. Maybe we should bring that back. But for now, let's continue on more and more back adventures.
Come to my
and of course,
channel
go check her out as well.
African Storyteller.
African Storyteller. It's going to be in the description box. And I'm also going to pin her comment in the comment section down below. So for now, I'll see you on the next one. Always remember to create time for that to ignite your soul. Until next time, bye.
Wow. I like that outro.
Thank you.
Hope my